Hello peeps, how are we all doing? Good, I hope. So, I've decided to come out and do a plod after doing my lollipop duty this afternoon and just clear my head a bit. But when you consider the weather this morning and how bad it was, I don't know about you, but here in Leicestershire it had been peeing it down with rain all night. To the point this morning, to go and do my lollipop duty, I ended up having to put my winter coat on. Yeah, we're in June and I'm putting a winter coat on. Bloody ridiculous, isn't it? But then this afternoon it's come out lovely. Really has. We've had some wonderful sunshine. Got a bit of a breeze which has taken some of the heat away, and that's why I decided to come out and do a plod and sort of clear my head. So for you, those of you out there that don't know, yeah, I'm on Instagram as well. I've got an account on Instagram, and I've been watching with interest at some of the stories on Instagram. It does make me laugh a bit, to be honest. And one of them was the fact that 16 to 24 year olds, yeah, there are a lot of 16 to 24 year olds that are either not in employment, not on further education or anything like that, which is a sad state of affairs. And like people have been saying on Instagram, yeah, it's going to become a generational problem. And I agree with you, yeah, it will become a generational problem. Now, don't get me wrong, there are youngsters out there that would love to be in employment, would love to be earning their own money and so on, and working for it, and getting that self-esteem. But there are some of the youngsters out there that couldn't give a monkey's rats, could they? Yeah, all the time that the government's going to pay them for sitting on their backside and sitting on their computer, their Switch, Nintendo Switch or PlayStation or whatever it is. Yeah, they're quite happy to do that. And that's where the problem lies. Now, for the politicians out there, I've got one solution for you that could help. Not so much with those that don't want to work, but you know, those that want to work and can't get into employment. Stop raising the retirement age. Now, there used to be a time when the retirement age was 60-year-old, and people would, the majority of the time, would work for a company for most of their working life. Yeah, and they'd work through from being an apprentice to being an engineer to becoming a shop foreman, yeah, and work their way up through the ranks. And there used to be that ladder, wasn't there? A bit like promotion in the British Army. There was that ladder. But then we stopped all the things like apprenticeships and that, didn't we? And I'm not blaming Labour, because it wasn't Labour that did that. That was the Conservative governments years back. They decided to do away with apprenticeships. But a lot of the kids nowadays, they want instant fame and instant money, don't they? They want to have loads of money, yeah, and do it via YouTube and TikTok and everything like that, and become a vlogger, blogger, whatever you want to call it. A bit of a joke really, yeah. But, and they do, a lot of people make a lot of money out of YouTube. I mean, my granddaughter watches some of the most bizarre YouTube stuff, and I'm thinking, do people really watch this? Because it's pure dross. It really is. Excuse me while I cross the road. It is real dross, but these people are getting thousands upon thousands of hits onto their sites. Yeah, and they're talking utter rubbish. But that's the way that today's generation wants to be, isn't it? You know, they want to listen to crap. You know, so what do we expect? But yeah, if you stop raising the retirement age, and also with the fact of the cost of living and everything, you know, most pensioners nowadays can't live off the state pension. Yeah, I mean, I've got an army pension, and there's no way that I could live off my army pension. I had to get my state pension on top of it in the next couple of months when I turn 66. Yeah, but that's what the kids want to do. They want to be instantly famous. I watch with interest on some of these reality shows. I don't watch a lot of them, I'll be honest with you, they bore me to tears. Yeah. But these people suddenly become celebrities. Now, I'm not having a go at Angry Ginge. I think he's a real nice lad. I watched a bit of the old Sport Aid football, yeah, the other night with Lisa, my mother-in-law. And that man was running around the park, yeah, like an headless chicken. Maybe if some of the professional footballers put in as much effort as what Angry Ginge does on a football pitch, maybe the England team would be better. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's get Angry Ginge into the England squad for the World Cup, because I'm pretty sure he'll do a better job than most of the footballers of today. But he was a YouTuber, yeah, set himself up a YouTube site, put loads of content on there. I must admit I didn't see it, but I did see him in the I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, the old jungle thing. And he's a genuine lad, real genuine lad. And what he's doing for his sister and that is absolutely amazing. So pat to his elbow, real pat to his elbow. But like I say, these kids today, they're not interested, are they? They don't want a job, or I would say a good majority of them don't want a job. They want to sit on their backside. It's funny, I was sat talking with a mate of mine today, having a coffee, and he was on about one of his sons. He got his son a job over in Germany, whereby he was going to get paid €1,500 a month. He was going to get accommodation free of charge. Yeah, went over to Germany, did it a couple of months. Oh, I don't like it, Dad. I want to go home. So my mate packed his bags and sent him home. Because like he said to me, he said, I'm not having that. You know, I bent over backwards to get him a job. Got him a job, 1,500 quid, tax-free, in his skyrocket. And then said, I don't want to do that. Yeah, but what do you want to do, son? Now that's the big thing. I mean, my son, this is going back to 1997, 98. He left school. He actually came to me and asked me if I could get him a work placement at Marchwood Military Port as part of his work placement for school. And we did. Spoke to the OC, got him in, and he came and joined us at Marchwood. Worked in the B vehicle shops for a week. Week after that, he went down to the shipyard and worked in the shipyard with the shipwrights. Loved every minute of it. Yeah, and as some of the guys were saying to me, "No, sure lad, you know I've got a brain on him, innit?" But Junior wanted to become a marine engineer. Yeah, and he wanted to become a marine engineer. So got him an application to work with Vosper Thornycroft. He had to do a aptitude test. Yeah, so got him on the aptitude test, passed it with flying colours. Yeah, absolute flying colours. But one of the things was we had to find him a boatyard that he could work at, yeah, to actually get some experience. Well, funnily enough, I went round every single boatyard down the south trying to get him a placement. They didn't have to pay him. All they had to do was give him some experience, and no one would help him. Now, I know in them days, a lot of trades companies and everything like that were complaining about the shortage of skills. And here we have a young lad, 17-year-old, out of school, that wants to do a trade, and yet no one would help him. It's the same with jobs today. You go for a job today, and you're overqualified, or you haven't got enough experience. How can you be overqualified for a job? I don't get that, yeah? Because you may be overqualified, but you want to get yourself in work. Now that was the same as what happened to me, yeah, at the age of 53, so 13 years ago. Yeah, all I wanted was to get into work, back into work. I've been out of work for the first time in my life for 10 months, and it was doing my fruit in. Yeah, but there we are. It was a case of, in my case, I actually applied for a job with Jaguar Land Rover, working on, as a vehicle electrician, yeah, working on Land Rovers. And myself, and there was 2 other ex-military lads. One was a Remy Tiffy, and the other one was a RAF Tech. We'd applied for these jobs and didn't get it. Now I kept in touch with them, and I emailed them saying, you know, I've had a reply to say that I've been unsuccessful, and they replied back saying they've been unsuccessful as well. So we, all 3 of us, decided that we'd have a word with the HR department at Jaguar Land Rover in Coventry and find out how come that we were unsuccessful. And do you know what it was? We didn't have a degree. Hold on a minute. I've been working on Land Rovers since I joined the army in 1977. All variants of vehicles. And yet my experience was worth diddly squat because I didn't have a degree. Well, that's funny because just a few months ago I graduated from Utrecht University in Belgium. Yeah, and I've now got a degree. Excuse me, just swallowed a fly. Yeah, so I've now got a degree. So I wonder if they'll take me on there. It's nothing to do with electrical engineering, mechanical engineering or anything like that. It's to do with archaeology, but it's a degree. So what do you reckon? Do you reckon I'll get the job? I don't think so somehow. I don't think I want to apply either, not after the way I've been treated. But the whole thing about you haven't got enough experience, especially for the youngsters that have left school. If you don't give them the opportunity, they're not going to get the experience, are they? Yeah, and the more that businesses turn around and say, you haven't got enough experience in this, yeah, the more the problem's going to grow. Because until you give these kids the opportunity to actually get some experience, yeah, you're going to be in the same boat. You're going to end up with a workforce that's working till they're 90. Yeah, and what are you going to do when they finally pop their clogs? You can't go back to the younger generation, can you? Because they ain't got the experience. This is where, in my eyes, the whole society in the UK has got things wrong. Absolutely wrong. Yeah, we need to encourage the youngsters to get into jobs. We need to encourage them to get into jobs that are beneficial to them and also to society in general. How about plumbing, bricklaying, electricians, yeah, hands-on skills. Yeah, the army at the moment are doing a big thing on cyber security. Well, that's great, but you can only put so many people into cyber security. Now, I got introduced to cyber security back in 2000 when I left the army, yeah, and started working for a website design company. And I saw that what some of these hackers can actually do, because I was working with 2 registered hackers. Yeah, and they showed me what they could actually achieve. Yeah, but they were registered to do it legally. They used to break into websites and so on legally to test people's security. Yeah, but investing in cyber security in the MOD, yeah, I don't get it, to be honest. You know, yeah, there is cyber security that's needed. I fully agree. I used to be an IT administrator for a global company, so I fully understand that. But it's like the other people that go on about we ought to bring back conscription and so on. I personally don't agree with it. Yeah, I think it's the wrong thing to do. Mainly because if you're in a battle situation, you want to be alongside someone that wants to be there with you. You don't want to have to think, Christ, what's he going to do? And that's what happens if you bring in these youngsters that want to sit on their backsides and do nothing. That's what happens. It's like today, when I was doing my lollipop duty this afternoon, part of the school that I'm the lollipop man for has got one of these SEN classes, school of special educational needs. Now the kids in there were kicking footballs and everything over the fence and into the roads. And myself and some of the other parents were picking them up and throwing them back. But what annoyed me was the fact that there was teachers there with the children that were doing absolutely nothing to stop them. Yeah. Now, you need to teach kids that there's boundaries. Yeah. And if you allow them to do that and get away with it, then they're going to keep doing it, aren't they? Maybe that's me, maybe it's not, I don't know. But this is where society's going wrong. Yeah, totally wrong. We're concentrating on stuff that really should have been dealt with in the home. Yeah, parents are always happy to blame other people, aren't they, for their child's bad behaviour. It's always the school's problem or the government's problem. No, they're your children. You sort them out. You teach them some discipline. That's my way of looking at it. It's like our Lily, my granddaughter. She'll push it and push it and push it, but then she knows when Grandad gives her the stare that she's getting close to the mark. Yeah, and then she'll toe the line. It's very rare that she ever steps out of the line, let me say that straight away. Yeah, she's one of the most polite children you'll ever come across. She will always say please and thank you. And if you say thank you back to Lily, she will always say, you're welcome. Yeah, so the way I always just say it, she's being brought up, not dragged up. Yeah. Anyway, I'm nearly halfway down to the reservoir. Christ, I've been gaffing away a lot of good, and this stick is doing my head in. Every now and again it just decides that it don't want to follow me, it wants to follow something else. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys get on. If you're new to the channel, please, if you want to subscribe, please feel free to do so. Yeah, glad to have you on board. And if you do subscribe, yeah, please just drop me a line and let me know that who you are and where you're from. I'd love to know where you're from and who you are, so I can reply to you and have some interaction with you. So I'm not telling you've got to subscribe to my channel, because we don't do that on the Stewie Lads. No, we don't. Yeah, but to you all, have a great Tuesday evening. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. And as me and Keith always say, let's tab.